Hey guys, Zack here, and welcome back to another action figure review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Godzilla Store exclusive Bandai movie monster series Bagan. Really quick, I just want to say I'm still a little under the weather from last week's video. That is because I'm actually recording this the day after I reviewed Biolante's video, so if you're wondering, like, why I sound a little off in this video, if I do, then that's why. I'm a little under the weather, but by the time I upload this, I should be better, but I digress. Anyway, Bagan here is actually really interesting because despite never appearing in a single Godzilla movie, Bagan has quite the history surrounding him. Growing up, like, I'd always see, like, renders of Bagan, or not always, but, like, occasionally I'd see pictures of Bagan, and I didn't really think much of it because I just thought he was, like, some fan creation. He's never been in a Godzilla movie, so I just thought, all right, some fan monster, cool, you know? And then around middle school, I found out that Bagan actually, he wasn't in a movie, but he was in a video game called Super Godzilla for the Super Nintendo. But I was just more curious because, like, he had a different design in that game compared to, like, the render I saw. So it just made me think, like, why do we have two different Bagan designs? After doing a bit of research, I actually found out that Bagan has quite the history surrounding the Heisei era of Godzilla movies. He was originally going to appear in Godzilla 1984, but they decided to scrap that idea and just make it a solo Godzilla movie. Bagan was supposed to be in the final Heisei Godzilla movie, but eventually he kind of turned into Destroya, and obviously, like, these are two, like, completely different designs, but I do look at Destroya and Bagan together, and I can see, like, some similarities. Very minor, but still some similarities that I do find pretty interesting. Bagan was also originally going to appear in the Rebirth of Mothra movies, but I've never seen those movies, so I don't really have a whole lot to say about those, but from what I've heard, I think I'm better off. So, yeah. If you want to know more about Bagan's history, Wikizilla did a great video talking about it. So, because, like, there is a lot here. Like, I only just scratched the surface there as far as, like, Bagan's, like, history and whatnot goes. So, if you want to know more about Bagan, then please check out Wikizilla's video. So, yeah, but as far as my thoughts on Bagan, like, now, I think he has a cool design, but, you know, I don't really have too much of a connection to Bagan, admittedly. Like, again, I like the design, and, I did pick up this figure for the novelty of it, but still, yeah, I don't know, Bagan, he's just kind of there, so, yeah. I don't really know what else to say, so let's just get right into this. Like usual, to start this review, we'll take a look at the tag first, and for the cover here, we have a nice render of Bagan from, I believe it was like a PC game that came out in Japan in the 90s that had this render. I could be wrong, but we do have a very nice render of Bagan here. At the bottom here, we have Bagan, both in English and in Japanese. And here we have the Godzilla 2023 emblem. On the back here, we have a nice silhouette of Bagan's tail and a bit of his back here. Movie Monster Series, Bandai. This says Godzilla Store, I'm assuming. Bandai Namco 3, and some more legal information here. And on the inside, we have a nice silhouette of Bagan here, as well as just a bunch of legal information. So, yeah, that's pretty much it for the tag. Now, going back to Bagan himself, we're going to start by taking a look at the paint. And the painting on this figure, I'm not going to lie, is actually really upsetting to me. It's really upsetting because of how good it is. Like, this is a Movie Monster Series figure, and the paint quality here is, like, really good. Not incredible, mind you, but, again, for a Movie Monster Series figure, this is kind of insane. So, let's take a closer look. So, as you can see, right off the bat, the entirety of this figure is casted in this grayish coloration. I wish it was more of, like, a whitish coloration, but still, this doesn't look terrible. The tail here and, like, a bunch of other points, like in the inner thighs here, and his chest and whatnot. We have this nice purplish reddish coloration, which I think looks really nice. And something to point out, the paint actually continues to the very end of the tail there. It doesn't stop, like, here or anything stupid like that. It goes all the way to the end there. And That's something you never see in like Bandai vinyls nowadays, you know? It, I'll talk more about that in a second, but yeah. The toenails and the fingernails are painted this nice metallic, like blackish grayish coloration. His knees here are painted a glossy brown. And this bit of like armor plating here, like on the chest here and in his crotch, this is painted again just this nice metallic like gray, like grayish blackish color, which I think looks nice. These bits here are painted a very nice metallic purple, as well as a little bit of a metallic gray here, which looks really good, on both sides. Going to his head here, his eyes are painted orange. I thought, based on what I'm remembering, I always thought that Bagan had pupils, but I could be wrong there. Maybe this is just a Mandela effect for me, but I digress. His horns are the same colors as his toenails and fingernails, which is really nice to see. The underside of the horn here is painted purple. And lastly, the inside of the mouth is painted a slightly more vibrant coloration of like the purplish here to look a little more red. And the teeth here are painted I don't want to say white, but they have a slight yellowish hue to them. They're not like the yellowish, like, yellowish whitish color we see on like other, movie monster series figures like teeth. This is a little closer to white. So yeah. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the painting on this figure. And the painting on this figure, again, for a movie monster series figure, is really cool. I mean, granted, like, these little spikes here on the tail, like, these should be painted, but, like, compared to everything else, I am not bothered at all. Because, like, the amount of paint here is absolutely insane. Like, it's frustrating to me. Because we have figures like the movie monster series Kiryu 2002, where that figure is missing a lot of black paint where there needs to be black paint. And you could make the argument that, okay, this is a Godzilla store exclusive, and that wasn't, so obviously the paint quality is going to be better. But even with other Godzilla store exclusive figures, like the Godzilla store exclusive Godzilla 84, that figure, the painting for like the dorsal plates like stopped like halfway through the tail, and the rest of the tail is just black. Like, that's a Godzilla store exclusive, and the paint there like should have like kept going to the end of the tail. Like here it did. Why didn't they do that for Godzilla? Even the movie monster series Godzilla, the one from that short film Godzilla versus Gigan Rex, like that figure, like again, not fully painted. But then we have this figure, and the painting is like incredible. So I get it's more expensive, but it would be really nice if like future Bandai vinyls had this level of paint. That would be great, but I digress. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it for the paint. And the painting here is really good. So the paint here, I'd say definitely gets a pass. Now, we'll take a look at the articulation, and the articulation on this figure is Bandai vinyl. So the arms can move backwards about that much, and forwards about this much, about there. The legs can kick about that far, and backwards about that far. The arms do get in the way, but the legs are capable of doing 360s. The tail is on a swivel. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the articulation on this figure. It's a Bandai vinyl. There's not a whole lot to say here, but it's pretty much on brand. So the articulation here, I'd say gets a pass. Now, we'll take a look at the sculpt, and the sculpting on this figure, I think, looks really good. Bagan has had a lot of different designs in the past, but this one seems to be the more noteworthy one, because this is one that they actually used in that PC game I was talking about earlier in this video. So yeah, and really quick, I just want to say, I know I should have talked about this towards the beginning of the video, but Bagan actually kind of reminds me of the Carnotaurus from The Lost World, because the second novel, or the second Jurassic Park novel, actually featured Carnotaurus. There were two of them that had chameleon-like abilities, so they could change colors. And, they were in, like, all of, like, the promotional material for the movie. You know, they made appearances in, like, the games. You know, they got, like, toys and, like, you know, there's a finger puppet. And, like, yeah, Carnotaurus, like, did show up, but it just never appeared in the movie, the Lost World movie. And same with Bagan, you know, a lot of history surrounding Bagan in the Godzilla series, you know, and making some, like, minor appearances in, like, side material, like, games and whatnot, but never appearing in the movie. So, yeah, I know I should have mentioned that towards the beginning of this video, but I'm kind of stupid, and I'm just now thinking about that, so, yeah. Anyway, what was I talking about? The sculpting. The sculpting on this figure, again, is pretty good. I think it's pretty much one-to-one to, you know, that render, based on from what I could tell. One thing I will say, the legs on mine are a little warped, but besides that, the sculpting here still looks very good. So the sculpting on this figure, I'd say definitely gets a pass. Now, we'll take a look at the detailing, and the detailing on this figure is very good, so let's take a closer look at that. So, starting off with the head here, we can see all the, like, little creases and, like, the ridges in the face here, I think are very nice looking. Everything here is very nicely defined. And even, you know, like, the little, like, cracks and crevices in the horn here, again, just a lot of really nice detailing here, which just looks really good. And even, like, the horns here have a lot of nice detailing, and, like, the spikes towards the back of his head here. The detailing looks nice. And this is what I mean when I say, like, there's some similarities to Destroy here, because we do have some, like, very similar, like, sort of crab, like, exoskeleton stuff going on here, like, with the back of the neck here, and, like, even this horn, too, like the center horn reminds me of Destroyer's horn. It also reminds me of Rawa from Gigabash, but I know that had to have been a coincidence, because, you know, that game literally just came out a couple years ago, and Bagan's been around since the 80s, conceptually, so, yeah. Anyway, I'm getting off topic here. But yeah, no, these, shoulder things here, whatever you want to call these, the detailing here is nice. Again, just a lot of that nice, like, armored plating, like, sort of crab, sort of, like, exoskeleton detailing here, which looks really nice. And even, like, the front of the body here, like, all, like, the creases here are detailed nicely, but even, like, the armored plating on, like, the chest and the crotch area here, I think are detailed very nicely as well. His arms here are detailed very nicely. All the musculature here looks really good. Bagan here is, like, absolutely ripped, but, like, yeah, again, like, all, like, the creases and everything here looks really good on each arm. Going to the legs here, again, just a lot of really nice detailing. We have that nice, like, exoskeleton sort of detailing here, as well as, like, this sort of muscly sort of bit here. I don't know why, like, this, like, just, the legs kind of remind me of, like, a Dragon Ball Z character. I think it's, is it Cooler? I'm not super familiar with Dragon Ball Z. My friends are really into it, so, you know, if I had any of my friends with me, they could probably tell me, but, yeah. It's not Frieza, is it? I don't know. I'm getting off topic, but still, the detailing on the legs here looks very nice, and even the feet has a lot of really nice detailing here as well. Now going to the tail here, again, just that armor plating on the back here just looks really nice. All of, like, little, like, scratches and whatnot just adds so much character here, and it looks great. But the tail itself, you know, just a lot of really nice detailing here. All of, like, little wrinkles and all of, like, the creases in the tail here, detailed very nicely. And that goes for the underside here as well. And the end of the tail, all of the spikes here are detailed nicely as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the detailing on this figure. Yeah, the detailing here is awesome. So the detailing on this figure, I'd say, definitely gets a pass. Now, we'll do some size comparisons. Here we have the Godzilla Store exclusive Movie Monster Series Godzilla 1984. Here we have the Bandai Creation Destroya. Again, I said this last week when I talked about Biolante, but it would be really nice if Bandai made a new Movie Monster Series Destroya figure, because the one they originally made, again, is way too small, so something bigger, like closer to this size, would be really nice to see. But I digress. Anyway, here we have the Bandai Movie Monster Series Mothra 1992. And, of course, here we have some hand sanitizer. And here we have Dr. Billy Grant. So at the end of the day, should you get this figure? Yes. I think this is a very high quality Bandai vinyl here. You know, the paint apps are great, the sculpt is great, the detailing is great, the articulation, it's a Bandai vinyl. You really shouldn't expect a lot, but still, this is a really nice figure. You know, I think the size is really good, and even just like the novelty of owning a Movie Monster Series Bagan figure is like really cool. So, yeah, I definitely recommend that you pick this figure up. As far as price tags go, like I said, this is a Godzilla store exclusive, so I got mine from the American Godzilla store, which is, again, just like with Biolante, why it took me so long to get this video done, but yeah, they're just shipping them out now. I paid about like 32 bucks, which honestly, I am not complaining because this is, like I said, a very nice quality figure and I do like it. But I don't know, this figure might be sold out on the American Godzilla store, so you might have to resort to the Japanese Godzilla store, you know, because you're going to have to, you know, pay for importing and whatnot. So, yeah, that's usually more expensive to like import things from Japan, you know, because like I order like my standard Movie Monster Series figures through like HobbyLink Japan, and I do have to pay like an additional $26 for shipping. So yeah, regardless, try to get this guy from the American Godzilla store, but if you can't, then definitely try to get him through the Japanese Godzilla store through Buy. You're spending more money, but at the end of the day, it's worth it because this is a really nice Bandai vinyl, and like I said, I definitely recommend that you pick this one up. So yeah. Anyway, that is it for today. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Peace, Zack out.